On Morning Live. The National Student Financial Aid Scheme, NSFAS, has called for the Matric Class of 2016 to submit applications for the 2017 student aid. With the scheme's centralized system closing its application open window for 2017 academic year at the end of November, most of the applications received are from university students. To talk to us more about this issue and other issues, of course, we joined in our studios in Johannesburg by Victor Rambau, NSFAS Head of Business and Enablement and Transformation as well. Good morning to you, Ndimachirone Ngwanashu, and welcome to Morning Live. Oh, Novo. But talk to us about as to how things are looking, especially for the new applications for the 2017 academic year. Are they really applying in large numbers?
So maybe let's put it in this way. They are applying in large numbers. However, we are concerned in that most applications are coming from students who are already at universities, and it's fine. There are no issues around that.
And yet you're looking for the new applications.
We're looking
now
for new applications, particularly from those who are currently sitting for the grade 12 exam, and those who didn't apply last year. You know, people who may have passed matric, but they couldn't continue because of lack of funding. We're then saying that they need to apply as well.
But what could the problem be, Victor? Is it perhaps your new centralized application system that might be hindering this process?
It's not easy to pinpoint what the problem could be, but one of the things that we tried to put as an intervention was to engage with different partners. The likes of Vodacom, they've exposed their IT centers across the country, NYDA, and through the Department of Social Development, we've got the SABC project where they've got 278 centers across the country where they've exposed those for matriculants to go and apply. And for us, it was more an issue of saying maybe the centralized system, much as it's predominantly an online system, that there's lack of access in rural areas.
Especially in the rural areas, I wanted to ask that.
So hence we came with these different interventions. But we need to make a call that, you know, the centralized application is not only online. We do receive forms that are printed through the post office, and people can also scan and fax through to us.
But how complicated is this system, or how user-friendly is it?
Look, it's not complicated, but one needs to acknowledge if you're using a computer for the first time, or if a computer is not something that you use on a daily basis, it will take a bit of time.
So you've got to be computer literate before you can even apply online. That might be a big challenge, isn't it?
Not really, but back to the question around complication, it takes at most 7 to 10 minutes to complete the form. And obviously there will be documents that you must upload, and that's more or less of it.
So what happens after the whole application has been completed and sent to you guys?
So once the application is completed and sent to us, the way the process works is once we close, we then start to do evaluation, because the application process does not work on the basis of first come, first serve. It works on the basis of how much money do you have and how many people can you fund. Only once you've closed, then you can start to do evaluation. And one needs to emphasize the point that beyond the evaluation process, there's an element of academic results for both students who are currently at universities and those who are currently doing matric. So we'd wait for the results for us to make a final decision.
So the deadline or the closing date is actually very near. So we left with how many days? 28 more days to go?
We left with 28 days.
Is that right? Are you perhaps looking at extending the deadline maybe?
Look, as things stands, we don't think there will be a need for us to extend the closing date, more so because we've engaged with the Department of Basic Education. We're saying before matriculants finish their last paper, we need to have, by all means, try to get as many applications coming from different schools.
Then how are you going to do that? Are you intensifying your campaigns maybe?
We are intensifying the campaign. We've made an undertaking that each and every school, the master print forms will be able to then collect them from various districts across the country. And as I mentioned in the opening, together with our other partners, NYDA, Vodacom, and also ECBND, we're trying to reach as many kids as we can.
All right. I think it was on yesterday's paper. I read an article on the current students at universities now, because NSFAS is also concerned that some of them have not signed their loan agreements due to the fees must fall protest. What is going to happen in that regard?
So that's where a bit of a challenge will come in. So what we're saying, we're then saying to students who are currently studying, if you don't sign your loan agreement form, it will make it difficult for us to migrate you through to the next year. But what that means then is when you come back next year, there will be a bit of a delay in the processing of your financial needs, because if we don't have your information, there's nothing we can do. And we're really making a plea to all students who know that they were funded by NSFAS this year, who will still need it the following year, to make sure that at least before the end of this month, that they need to have then signed their documentation. The different departments with different universities, they will make sure that we receive those documents.
All right. What happens if they don't? Just a quick one on this one.
If they don't, then what will likely happen is there will be an appeal process that will happen at university level, where they'll go to the financial aid office and make a plea to say, well, we didn't sign, but we still...
So they will have to endure long procedures if they don't.
Yes,
so they need to abide by this. Okay, that's where we're going to leave it. Kotsianga Ndorebuang Amanda. There you have it. That's Victor Rambau, NSFAS Head of Business Enablement and Transformation, talking to us about the deadline. 28 more days to go if you are currently sitting for your matric and you would like assistance from the National Student Financial Aid Scheme. Let's take a break. Morning Live continues after this.